You ever heard that phrase, rubbing a genie comes out of a bottle and he grants you so many wishes and what your wishes would be? In the area of stocks, I think my wish would be to own 49% of Amazon. I say 49%, it may need to be a little bit less than that because I want the current management to stay in position and I want Jeff Bezos to continue to be the CEO of it because I believe Amazon is probably in my belief, the most advanced and the most futuristic and will grow beyond our imaginations in the future. The other thing is, I'm a little bit maybe a different kind of investor than many of you. I bet on the winners, and that's it. Now my odds don't pay as well, such as in the Kentucky Derby. If you bet on the winner, you just don't get the big payout that you do if you bet on a long shot or the also rans. I don't care to be in that business. I'll bet on the top two, the top in this case, in my case, the top six, and I think in the long run, I'm going to come out way ahead of those of you who bet on the also rans and the long shots. And I think if you look at I think there's a lot of parallels between horse racing and the stock market. I'll bet on the winners. Continuing with my why I want to buy Amazon this next week for $3,300 a share. If I could get into Jeff Bezos' office and I could dig around in his papers, I think I would find somewhere a list of his 10 most wanted list. And I think on that list, there's going to be 10 things that he would like to achieve or he would like Amazon to achieve over a given period of time. On that list, I think one of the things is smart cars. And I think that list, I would see a check on it. He's achieved that. To my understanding, I own a BMW. I know I own a BMW. But to my understanding, there's 140 chips in my BMW that sends information into the cloud. Everything from the GPS to when my tires get low, how often I get gas, what kind of mileage I get on it, when my tires are worn, when my tires go low, when my battery needs to be replaced. I believe, it's my understanding that a majority of that data ends up in the Amazon cloud, Amazon Web Services. And if I remember my readings, he also has Volkswagen and a number of others, and they've made deals with these various car companies. And I think he's checked that off, that they've achieved that. They'd probably like to get more car companies because that is an enormous business. It's a $33 million business in 2017 when it first got going, and it's projected to be a $77 million business in 2005. And I don't know exactly how they come up with those dollars and cents, but we'll look at it a little more closely when we look at what I think number one or number two or number three is, and that is to turn Carrie's home into a smart home. I believe that's on his list. And it doesn't say Carrie's home, but it says your home, my home, all homes. Because there's so much more data that comes out of my home. And this is going to be driven by 5G and the Internet of Things, the Internet actually of everything. And they project that business at 16 million in 2017, growing to 52.5 million in 2025. Now, what does that encompass? That encompasses control and comfort, energy management, security, comfort lighting, smart appliances, and home entertainment. And they project that data from those six sources, will produce roughly $605 per home per year. And so you do the math, and it's a big number. But I think what's not in that number, as Alexa is listening to every conversation that Nita and I have, and when our kids and grandkids show up, or when we have people to the house, Alexa's hearing everything we say. It's like Nita and I had a conversation yesterday about Viking Cruises has a cruise, a riverboat cruise that goes from New Orleans to Minneapolis, St. Paul. We've spent a lot of time in New Orleans, and we used to live in Minneapolis, St. Paul for 10 years. And we've done riverboat cruises in Russia. And I think we did another one someplace else. And we've done numerous ocean cruises, and we love it. We love the idea that you unpack once and you spend the time. And so anyway, if Alexa was in our family room when Nita and I had that conversation, what is that data worth? Well, it's worth a lot to Viking Cruises. It's also worth a lot to anybody who has any competitive product with Viking Cruises. That's not figured in the 52 million up here. What if Nita and I have a conversation about what we just did have a conversation about what we're going to do for lunch and what we're going to do for dinner. We converse about our insurance. We converse about our banking, our transportation. I made a comment not long ago that I would sure like to own a Tesla automobile. In fact, what I said was I suspect my next car will be an electric vehicle. BMW would like to know that. They'd like to know that I'm going to take my internal combustion BMW and turn it into a electric. And they'd like to get me convinced not to buy a Tesla product, but to buy a BMW product. So what is that information worth? What is that the information about our grocery needs? What if we have a smart microwave and a smart oven and a smart dishwasher and a smart pantry and a smart refrigerator? What is that information worth to Amazon, who owns the Whole Foods grocery store down the street? That they could convince us to get on a program where we don't even order. That through our conversations, through our pantry levels, those orders are done for. What is that worth? I don't think it's in the billions or the millions of dollars. I believe it's in the trillions of dollars, because at that point, whoever it is, if it's Apple's, if it's Google's, if it's Amazon's, they become my life advisor. They know anything and everything about my life, and they have all the data in the world to put together to help me make better decisions. I think I'm a pretty smart guy, and I think I've had a lot of information, but I do not believe I have enough information to make all the decisions that I have to make on a day-to-day basis. And the one that I laugh the most about is about every quarter, the water company writes me a letter and says, you need to insure the water line from your meter to your house, because if it breaks, we aren't going to fix it for free, and it's probably going to be a $6,000 project. Well, I've lived in the house for 30 years, and the pipe, I'm quite sure, is PVC or steel, and it ain't going to leak anytime soon, at least to my knowledge. But what if it did? What if Amazon told me that my neighbor's house, or 5 doors down, the house that was built 3 years after mine, their water line broke? Wow, does that change my opinion as to whether I need to buy the insurance? You bet it does. You bet it does. But I don't have that information. So I don't have enough information to make all the important decisions that I need to make. So I am of the belief that Amazon, Google, Apple will make my house a smart home and they will provide me with the information, and I'll jump in with both feet and say, yeah, I want that from you. I'll pay for it because I know in the long run you're going to save me a lot of money. They're going to fly a drone over my house in the middle of winter when it's 32 degrees outside and say, Carrie, you need more insulation in your attic. And based upon what we know about your heating bill and your air conditioning bill, that's going to save you so much per month over the next 5 years, and it'll pay for itself, or you'll make money off of it. I need to know those things. Right now, I don't. I am not qualified to make that decision. So I want somebody to make it. So that is why I'm going to buy Amazon for $3,300 this next week. But wait, how did I decide on the price of $3,300? I used my graphs. I used the history of Amazon's pricing to give me a buy point. So let's go to my graphing and I'll show you exactly why I've chosen $3,300 as my buy point. This is a chart of Amazon dating back to, as you see here, 2011, and it just kind of went along growing at a normal rate. And then in 2015 we started to see a move up and a steady growth rate. And what I've done here is I've put in a trend line to kind of give me a upward level of its trading zone, and then established another trend line giving it its lower level. And what if I would have sold it there, it would have rewarded me well. That was on September of 18, because then it came back and in December of 18 dropped below the lower trade channel. So if I'm a trader, this gives me some very definite signals. When it crosses that line, it's time to buy. When it gets out of the trend line like here, that is a sell signal. And sure enough, shortly after it got out, it goes down. Now, the difficulty part of it is the buy signal's down here. If it doesn't go down there, you don't get a buy signal and you miss this. So I don't get that technical about it. I kind of, if it's staying and running in its course, I don't sell it. I just allow it to run. Now here again, that is a very dramatic sell signal. And not being a trader, but instead an investor, I just write it out. Then we go up here and you see touches the upper channel and comes back down. Then we see this is March of 2020, and let's move it over. And you can see that it basically creates a totally new trading channel and blows through this one down here, this upper level here, or this channel, tests it, and then comes back up, comes down over, tests it again, and then comes back and gives us a steady climb. And this is through the coronavirus. And I think we all know why this occurred, because their marketing plan fit the situation that we found ourselves in very well. So let's focus even more on that. What I'm showing you here are gaps. And for the most part, this gap never has been filled. This one looks like it came down and touched it outside the trading channel. But you can see here, since March, the Amazon has just continued to climb, and it comes again a gap, and it was covered, again a gap, and Friday that gap was covered. Okay, again, if I was astute and I had some cash, that's where I should have bought it. What I'm doing now is this alerts me to say, whatever happens on Tuesday and Wednesday, I want to be watching this stock. I want to see if Amazon crosses back over, and even if it does, I'll probably buy it. But if it comes down further, particularly, look, you can see it, it almost tested this gap, which had been filled again. Um, that's a buyer. I see this as the number one stock that I want to buy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever the market does. And why is that? Because its trading channel, its potential right now, its high potential and staying in its trading channel, if I can read that number over there, is somewhere around 3,650. So I see this as much greater upside potential than downside potential. Bruce wrote me this morning and asked me what I thought about Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage is a company that's, I believe they started as Quicken Loans. They've done some wonderful things in downtown Detroit, and their founder, Dan Gilbert, also owns the Cavaliers, and he has built this Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage into a phenomenal company, and it's one of those companies that you'd like to work with. Well, Dan had a stroke, I believe it was on Memorial Day while he was at a party, and it set Dan back. Shortly after that, and I don't know that this wasn't in the making anyway, they went public. So my note to Bruce was, Rocket's going to be bought. Rocket is so far ahead of everybody else in the in the mortgage business that somebody like Amazon, whoever wants to get into my house and give me good information, is going to buy them. Now, why do I think that? Because the way you get Kerry to turn his house into a smart home, the easiest time to do that is when he's selling or buying a new home, when there's a transfer of title to a home, when you can get into that closing room and say, as you're buying this home, we have an incentive for you to turn it into an Amazon smart home or a Google smart home or an Apple smart home. And part of that package is, oh, by the way, you're going to need some homeowners insurance on your new home. You're also going to need, particularly if you're moving from out of state, you may want to change your car insurance, and you may want to put a umbrella policy on it. No better place to capture financial information and mortgage information than at the closing table or before the closing table of the transfer of a home. So it is my belief that in addition to number 1, 2, or 3 on Jeff's list of turn Kerry's home into a smart home, is gather these companies that are going, such as Zillow and Rocket Mortgage and whatever other insurance companies might be in play at that time, and make that part of the transition of the home. And that will all come to Jeff's number 1 check, and that isn't checked yet, turn Kerry's home into a smart home. So that's why this week I will add to my holdings in Amazon.com. And oh yeah, God, if you still, or Genie, if you still want to grant my wish, I only want 49% of Amazon. So don't be giving me the whole thing, because I'm not equipped to run this thing. I might be equipped to sit on the board of directors, but I don't know. No. Okay, thanks.